Good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, thank God, April 20th, and today we'll cover the trades for YieldMax funds, Tesley, CONY, NVDY, MSTY. But yeah, what a week, man. What a week. What an awful week, to be honest. I know everyone says buy the dip, but I'm over the dip. Let's get over this hump. This has been you know, not so much fun this week, to be honest. Everything's going like down, 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 down. And sure enough, if you run out of cash, you can't take advantage of it. So now we wait. But anyway, let's get to the trades. First, TSLY. So we know they had contracts left over to use, and they used them, and they chose a strike price of 162.50. So let's see what that looks like in the spreadsheet. And just some FYI, guys, I will be making some changes to the spreadsheet. The reason is I want to, decrease, I'll say, the time it takes me to do certain updates and decrease the video time as well, because my videos have been going, I'll say, a little too long, much longer than normal. So I want to keep the videos definitely under 30 minutes. So obviously today's will not be under 30 minutes, but going forward, if I can get to the updates this weekend, I'll have hopefully my videos under 30 minutes. And the same, I'm still going to cover everything I cover, just not, as dragged out, I'll say. All right, so anyway, synthetic positions for Tesley. What did they do? They didn't add anything to them, so I'm not going to harp on these. They expire May 17th. Obviously, the 175 is in danger, even though it's a month away. Tesla's at 147, so they're pretty far away now. But the 170, same thing. I mean, these are just, we'll just wait. Hopefully Tesla has a recovery. Tesla has been doing nothing but go down. And the earnings is next week, and usually after earnings they go down more. So I don't even know what to say anymore about Tesla. I'm doing my own options on Tesla, and I'm getting my ass handed to me right now. So, this is like a reality check, okay? You do options on single stock, especially a leverage fund, you better make sure, you're ready for what's coming. So it's always good until it's bad. So let's take a look at what happened with Tesla yesterday. It actually wasn't a terrible day. Tesla went down 1.92%, and Tesley went down 1.98%. I updated this yesterday, I think, on my live. And, actually, did outstanding shares change? No. See, this is confusing to me because Tesley went down more than Tesla. How in the hell did that happen? How did that happen? That does not make any sense to me, to be honest. So I wish I had an answer for that, but it doesn't make sense. All right, so let's look at this week, man. How did this week go? This week was brutal. How much did we go down overall? If I can highlight this without screwing everything up, let's see. Of course I can't. Well, it looks like we went down. No, that's not right. Oh my God. Stop here. All right, we went down 14.83%, I believe, for the week, which is terrible. All right, so anyway, what did they do yesterday? They 20,555 contracts with a 162.50 strike. That's 10.51% out of the money, and that can produce a 1.69% yield and brought in $5 million. Okay, I'll take that. Double digits percent out of the money. All right, earnings coming up. Even though historically Tesla has gone down, but they've gone down so much, it's really hard to imagine that they're going to go down even more after earnings. It's hard. It's hard for me to imagine that. I have no idea what's going to happen. But let's see. Outstanding shares did not move. Cash went up. Well, they made money, right? They made money on the call. So overall, cash and treasuries went up by 5.3 million, basically because they made money on the new call heading into next week. So what's the new summary? The new summary for Tesley is for the weekly calls 45,675,000 outstanding shares. Total income from the weekly calls 24.5 million. That's a distribution of 54 cents. That's a daily income of 4 cents per day, a daily yield of 0.31%, and if you annualize that, you'll get 113.05%. Okay? So, this is probably the tab that's going to go, just FYI. It's a little overkill. These are things I can cover on the other sheets. But this is what we look like heading into next week. We got 20,560 contracts with this is the higher strike actually, 175 strike, 19% out of the money. So I think that one's, we got room to grow with that one. And then we have 20,555 contracts with a 162.50 strike. That's 10% out of the money. So if they played, this percent out of the money when Tesla is on the recovery, Tesley can recover with Tesla. But obviously they're not going to do that every week because every week is not earnings. But their 30-day IV came up 61%. Again, earnings, that's why. 147.05 is Tesla price. 30-day chart is disgusting. Tesley price is disgusting as well. Tesley is at 13.34. And potential capital gains for next week, $1.97, that's really good for Tesley. And the bear remains because it's nothing but a bear market for, Tesla. It's just ugly. Nothing more to say. So earnings is what? 423. I believe that's Tuesday. What's today? Today's the 20th. Yeah, so that's Tuesday after hours. So get ready. I think I'll be driving home at that point. But either way, curve, no change. Curve is like, if I cover curve every day, you guys would be sleeping. But 101 contracts, 210 strike, 42% out of the money. Curve price, by the way, is under $17. So, yuck. If you hear this background noise, it is raining yet again in New Jersey. All right, so April details. Synthetic income, 545,000. Short call income, 24.5 million. Net income, 25 million. Okay? So what does that produce? A total income per share of 55 cents, all income. And short call income alone is basically all of it, 54 cents. So as of right now, we're heading the right direction. We're making money. Of course, their synthetics are now not looking pretty, but, they still have time on those. This tab I'm obviously keeping. And of course, this tab I'm keeping because this is more so automated. But, again, I'm not talking about the synthetics. I'm not really going to talk about the weekly calls because they have a whole week to go, 5 trading days. But let's just say the net asset value is hovering the $500 million range. But they're at $611 million net asset value. The NAV is $13.39 and the trade price is $13.34. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for Tesley. Tesla had a terrible week. Tesley obviously went down, but they won their calls. By a long shot, they won their calls. So they're still making money as Tesla goes down. So that's the beauty. The bad part is the synthetic now needs to do some work, right? Because it's now in the hole by, if you go to the holdings, you can see how much they have to pay, for the put, which is essentially, it's over 100 million at this point. I know it's still early, but, just something to think about coming up. We do need a Tesla recovery for these two synthetics. These synthetics, I feel like they've been open forever. But anyway, so that's the summary on Tesla. Just a rough week. Hang in there, guys. All right, NVDY. A lot going on. Buy call, a lot of transactions. Let's go in order. Buy call, sell put. That's the synthetic edition, adding 120 contracts to the synthetic. And then they're using them to sell a call into next week, which again, that's April 26th is next Friday. Then you see 2 BCs for a penny because guess what? Nvidia tanked as well yesterday. So these calls were another win. So they paid a penny to close them. And then they opened a new position with those same contracts but one strike, 840 strike. So let's see what that looks like on our spreadsheet. All right, so first they have a 915 synthetic. They did add the 120 contracts. And since they're priced well below the strike of the synthetic, the put is worth a lot more. So they got about like 1.2 million for their troubles there. So that went into the bucket of April profits. The paper value of this synthetic is a loss of 74 million. But again, this expires May 17th, just like Tesley's, so they have time to recover. All right, how did Nvidia do yesterday? I mean, it did terrible, absolutely horrendous, awful. Nvidia went down 10%. NVDY went down 9.13%. It was just disgusting. It was a really bad day. What do we got? We have 120 contracts. This is what they added from the new synthetic position. 120 contracts, 850 strike. That's 11% out of the money. And then they have 4,850 contracts. That's an 840 strike, 10% out of the money. The penny closure up here, obviously that's a win. They ended up with a profit of $24 million from last week's calls. So again, with the complaining of the terrible market, awful, we're selling calls, which is a bearish play, and we're winning week in and week out. You're not seeing that as much. I mean, you should see it in the price, right? So you see, like, again, it went down, Nvidia went down 10, we went down 9, right? These other days, Nvidia went down 3.8%, we went down 3.6. Nvidia went down 2.48%, we went down 1.88, all right? So we're not going down as rapidly as Nvidia, but at the same time, when Nvidia has a recovery, it is possible we may not take advantage of that full recovery. It depends how they play it, so we'll see. All right, outstanding shares did go up. We have 175,000 additional outstanding shares, and cash and treasuries overall went up 9.7 million. So this fund is still moving in the right direction. All right, so here's the recap. We have 16,375,000 outstanding shares. They're producing income from the weekly calls alone, 12.1 million. That's a distribution of 74 cents per share, a daily income of 6 cents per day, a daily yield of 0.24%, and an annualized yield of 89%. I just realized there could be a slight delay in this video because I did not get to restart my phone. For whatever reason, when you do screen record, this is a brand new phone too, but if you don't restart the phone periodically, there tends to be a little delay, but whatever. All right, active tab. Here we go into next week. What are we looking like? Well, we kind of just talked about it, but the lowest strike is our, the biggest position, 4,850 contracts. That's an 840 strike, 10% out of the money. And then the lowest is 120 contracts, 850 strike, lowest contract position. That's 11.55% of the money. So they're pretty far out of the money for next week. So that's good. Nvidia price, oh my God, 762. What happened? 30-day IV, 55%. 30-day chart, disgusting like all the others. Their earnings is coming up in May, but Nvidia is still hanging in there, man. $23.38. I did not sell my Nvidia. I still own it, and I'm still up. So that's the good part, at least on that position. All right, what do we got here? Potential capital gains, $2.40 heading into next week. This part may go away because if I get rid of this tab, obviously this part's going to have to go away. However, this part, honestly, it's more of a pain than it's worth because it's never even accurate. I mean, you get the gist. We can go up, we can go down, depending on where we're at, but we'll see. We'll talk about it. All right, here's the reaction. The GOAT is just making his faces. He's a cocky guy. He's doing well. Even though Nvidia's tanking, he's happy. All right, synthetic income, what do we got? 4.4 million. Short call income, 12.1 million. Net income, 16.6. So the summary is total income per share, $1.01. Short call income per share, 74 cents. So looking good. We got what? Maybe we got 2 more Fridays until declaration. So Nvidia could be over $1. We're definitely not getting 2. So unless Nvidia blows up to 1,000, and then the synthetic could pass. but not likely. All right, here's the holdings info. We're not going to talk about the synthetic, and we're not going to talk about the weekly calls, but the net asset value is 381.1 million. The NAV is 23.28, and the trade price is 23.38. So that is NVDY. By the way, the Bitcoin halving is over. So, yay, I guess. I don't know. So here's coin. What do we got? We got 4 transactions. We got BC, BC, SS, SS. BC is buy to close. So what do? They closed out their weekly calls that expired Friday. SS short sale, they opened, they sold a call into next week, 426. And there's 2 different strike prices. So good. Let's see what it looks like, though, on the breakdown. All right. CONY, 260 synthetic. Nothing added, obviously, no synthetic addition, but as of right now, again, this also expires. May 17th is going to be a big day, but May 17th, there's the strike of this synthetic. 260 and coin is at 211. Wow, that's tough. So hopefully they recover. It's not go crazy yet, though. All right, how did coin do yesterday? Pretty bad, not as bad as the others, but coin went down 3.24%. CONY went down 2.87%. So again, this is what you would expect to see. The underlying goes down this much. The ETF does not go down as much, again. So that should be how it works. However, on Tesley, again, I just don't understand. I might be missing something. I'm also pretty damn tired, but... All right, so what did they do? We said they closed out positions, right? So what they pay? A penny and 2 pennies? Yeah, so a penny and then approximately 2 cents rounded up. And then obviously they opened 2 new positions. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So obviously they made a profit on these 2. The gray was old. That's why, we already talked about that. But they made a profit of 6.6 million on those 2 that they closed. So again, with the bear market comes the weekly call wins. So good job. Easy to win selling calls in the bear market. But what do we got for going into next week? They added 10,000 contracts with a 235 strike, which is 11.37% out of the money. What's the yield? Let's see. The yield is 1.82%. And then they have 7,690 contracts. That's a 232.50 strike. That's 10% out of the money, and that yields 2%. Nice. So overall, they could cash in right here, over $7 million. But obviously, that $7 million gets added right away to the cash and treasuries, which goes into the net asset value, which goes into the NAV. So what do we got here? We got cash and treasuries went up by $4 million in total. So here is the recap for the weekly calls. We have outstanding shares of 16,675,000. We have an income of 21.7 million. That's a total distribution of $1.31. That's a daily income of 10 cents per day. That's a daily yield of 0.44% or an annualized yield of 161%. So I'd say CONY is still standing strong, even with the ups and downs of the market. All right, so we have 3 strikes heading into next week. We'll go from lowest to highest. Of course, it's not in order, but here we go. 7,690 contracts with a 232.50 strike. That's 10% out of the money. Then we have 10,000 contracts with a 235 strike. That's 11% out of the money. And then you have 300 contracts with a 255 strike. That's 20% out of the money. So, pretty decent cushion right there. 30-day IV is 97%, and coin again is priced at 211. 30-day chart, not pretty. Halving's over. I can get rid of that note now, and we can talk about earnings, which is coming up on May 2nd after hours, unless they change it, of course. CONY price is 22.71, but they have a potential to get some capital gains next week of 250. Reaction is CONY is still the moneymaker, so money face remains because of that and because I was too lazy to update it. All right, so what we got? Payment details here. So for April, synthetic income 19 million, short call income 21 million. That's a total net income of 40 million. If we look at total income per share, they're at $2.45. Short call alone, $1.31. And yeah, pretty good. But you know, time will tell. That synthetic is not. We're not doing good right now in that synthetic, but that's going to be a May problem. That's going to be a mid-May problem, not really an April problem. So how are they going to pay us? They're probably going to pay us based on the short call income, I would think. So I would not expect $2. I would expect maybe the high dollar range, like $1.80-ish. We'll see. I think we have, like I said, 2 more weeks. But I think CONY's going to have another good payment. Not like before, though, but either way, here's the holdings. Again, I'm not going to talk about synthetics. I'm not going to talk about weekly calls too early. But the net asset value for CONY is 379 million. The NAV is 2274, and the trade price is 2271, which is a 3-cent discount. Okay. By the way, I did make a purchase yesterday. I bought 10 shares of YieldMax. It's really all I could afford because all my money is locked up in TSLY options. So I got stuck holding the bag. Here I am holding the bag. All right, let's talk about MSTY. Oh my God. MSTY, you're driving me nuts here. So what did? They did way too much. They had to sell out. So people were selling shares. So they sold out of the synthetics. There's 3 transactions at the top. So they sold 5 contracts from the synthetic, and they closed out 5 contracts. Probably screwed that up in my spreadsheet. I feel like I did. What else? They BC'd 4 other contracts that expired yesterday, and they rolled that all up into 1 strike. So let's see what that looks like. Like I said, I don't even know. I went live yesterday, and then by the time I was done trying to update my sheet with the chaos in the house, I mean, I definitely screwed something up. All right, so let's take a look at the synthetic. We got April 19th. They closed out 5 contracts, so that's why it's -5, right? So what did they make on the call? They made $91,000 on the call. They had to pay $68,000 for the put. So they actually made a profit closing out that position. That's because MSTR is priced above the strike of the synthetic. So guess what? Selling out a synthetic, that's no problem. So right now, again, this synthetic also expires May 17th. So again, that's a big day in the YieldMax world. We'll see what happens. And this synthetic is actually worth money at this very moment. So, all right, so how did MSTR do yesterday? Well, they went down, okay? Everyone went down, except Zomo. I heard Zomo went up, but everything else went down, 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 okay? Enough of going down. I'm over it. MSTR went down 2.82%. MSTY, look at that, only went down 1.27%. That's really good. All right, so what happened with the contracts? Well, they closed a whole bunch. They paid 5 cents, 2 cents, 10 cents, 2.50, and 24.50. So, I mean, they made some profits. How much? I mean, probably a decent amount. What do we got here? They made $123,000 on one, $1.9 million on another, $174,000 on another, $32,000, and $7,000. So good job. Now heading into next week, they already opened that 1 position. They had 9 contracts. They had to split it up because they closed 5 of them. That was at the 1400 strike. But they did add yesterday 660 contracts. Again, we mentioned 1 strike, $13.95. That's 18% out of the money, though, and that's yielding 2.7%. That brought in a credit of $2 million. So if we go over here, outstanding shares, as expected, went down because, you know, if they sold synthetics, outstanding shares, of course, most likely went down unless they reflect it later, which has happened as well. So 50,000 outstanding share decrease. Cash and treasuries overall went up 646,000 though, so that's pretty good. But let's go to the summary for the weekly calls. Well, outstanding shares is now at 2,750,000. Total net income, 6.7 million. That's a distribution of $2.45. That's a daily income of 19 cents per day. That's a daily yield of 0.64%. And that's an annualized yield of 232%. So, MSTY, I know they've gone down a lot, but to be honest, if you bought this fund in the beginning, you are nothing but happy. You know, you're letting this volatility play out as it has, and you're just sitting there and you're just going to collect distribution after distribution. Sure, MSTR could go down a lot, but, you know, MSTY is still almost at that $30 range, so it's really doing pretty good. All right, how are we looking heading into next week, though? The lowest strike, which is the largest position, 660 contracts with a 1395 strike, 18% out of the money. 4 contracts with a 1400 strike, that's 19% out of the money. 30-day IV, 123%. MSTR price, 1,174.11. 30-day chart, not that great. But as mentioned, MSTY price is 29.62. Halving note can go away. Their earnings is actually at the end of this month, so now we can start talking about that. Potential capital gains, $5.57. So that's awesome. Reaction is really no reaction. You know, Bitcoin halving's over, so, you know, the MSTY fund manager, he's a little sad. You know, he liked the news, the hype. He liked all that, but now it's over, so what are they going to talk about? Probably nothing. All right, you ready? Here we go. Let's see what this looks like. Synthetic income. Unfortunately, synthetic income is a loss of 31 million. We knew that, right? The synthetic killed us this month. Short call income, 6.7 million. So that's a net income loss, 24 million. So as far as income per share, we're not going to talk about that total income. We're going to talk about short call income per share. And that's $2.45, okay? So when it comes to payment day, we are going to use short call income. However, will they pay 100% of short call income based on how much they lost in total income? I would say no. So I would say, if I was guessing now, they're going to pay us, you know, a portion under, maybe like 30%, for example, under what they made on the short call income. Again, the month is not over, so they could lose too on the short calls. So you never know. But as of right now, we're headed towards the $3 range, you know, based on where we're going. So I do not think we're going to get a $3 payment, though. So I would not get our hopes up. What do we got here? Well, I'm not going to talk about the synthetic. Again, it expires May 17th. And the weekly calls, we got a whole 5 trading days to talk about that. But net asset value is 80.9 million, and the NAV is 29.43, and the trade price is 29.62. So that is the summary of all the funds, all the YieldMax funds, and it was one of the hardest weeks we've had so far. And it was unusual. I guess it's because of the war. I mean, the CPI started it, then the war stuff, and then just one thing after the next. Tesla just brings out bad news every day. Obviously, you know, they're struggling in general, and it's just, all things are just going down. So this is, for me personally, a good learning lesson to slow my roll, right? So, you know, I kind of got my ass handed to me on my options and swing trading moves. I'll make a video how I'm doing later today, which is, you know, I'm kind of at a standstill. So it's now time to get a strategy to how to recover out, how to get out without either losing money or without losing too much money. So that'll be interesting. You know, again, I'm sharing my journey, the good and the bad. Of course, there's good weeks and there's bad weeks. This is a bad week. So sometimes the bad weeks can lead into further bad weeks, but it's okay. You know, you learn from your mistakes. You learn. People always ask, what's the worst that could happen to these funds? Well, you know, you're kind of seeing it in Tesley. That is the absolute worst that could happen, right? The underlying could do so bad that it just goes down and down and down. Of course, Tesley is probably beating Tesla, you know, in the short term. However, it's not doing that good itself. You know what I mean? And then the worst part is when Tesla recovers, TSLY unfortunately will not cap the 100% of the upside. It can, but it's very doubtful. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk this through. The week was a bit rough for a lot of people. I'm sure people are down a lot. I know I'm down a lot. It's I don't even know how much I'm down, to be honest. It's a lot, but I'm just talking about my taxable account. If I look at the other one, forget it. But either way, rough week. Hang in there, guys. Obviously, if you have cash, sure, you could buy in the discount. Not only YieldMax, you could buy the S&P 500 indexes. You could buy the Russells. You could do well. And then I'm sure other stocks are down. Dividend-paying stocks, dividend growth stocks, all that jazz. So take advantage of that. And by the way, for those of you that listen to me and like to write negative comments, that's fine, but you have to control yourself sometimes. If I do live streams and you're just going to be negative and cursing, I'm just going to boot you, okay? This is the final warning, by the way. I'm not going to have, there's not going to be any warnings after this because it's just, come on, we got to grow up here. I don't care if you hate Tesley and you write that. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you hate my portfolio. That doesn't matter to me. But when you start like cursing at people or cursing in general, it's not necessary. So again, as I do these live streams, I'm going to have to boot people if I need to. So if you're one of those people, all I'm asking is come on, control yourself. Let's be, you could be negative, but in a respectful manner, okay? And just a reminder too, I have a Monday live stream at 5 p.m. with Sylvia from Defiance. So be even more respectful then, or you will be blocked right away. So let's all be adults here. So, which reminds me, please, if you can, attend the live stream because I will only be using your questions. I don't have any questions myself. I don't have any plans of asking my own questions. I'm relying on the community. If the community doesn't show up, then it's all on me, I guess. But I hopefully the community shows up and they have their own questions, hopefully new questions. Let's get creative. Let's talk about let's look at, Defiance does have other funds. So why don't we go check them out? Maybe on the next video, I'll do a quick review of, what they even got. And then we could talk about it. But maybe on Sunday's video when I do these Defiance update. But yeah, so that's the update for the end of the week. So again, hang in there, guys. I know it was rough. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Be honest. Are you worried? Are you considering selling stocks? Are you considering buying more stocks? Are you have you been around the block so much this is nothing for you? Or are you new to investing and you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Share down below. It's all good, man. Whether you're new or old, who cares? We're just learning together. And by the way, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. The whole point of my videos is not only to try to help explain what these funds are doing, but share my journey and how I'm doing. Personally, out of these 4 funds, I own NVDY and CONY. I do not own MSTY or Tesley, okay? But again, that should not matter to you. It doesn't matter what I own. I'm just one schlep in this world, right? I just happen to make YouTube videos that some people like, maybe because I'm honest and truthful and it's not like BS, I'm assuming that's the reason. Sometimes some of the reason is people want to just bash it, and that's fine too. But either way, do your own research, of course. Everyone's scenario is different, so you cannot base your investments on what someone else is doing. And that's, I know it's repetitive, but it's very true. So, all right. So keyword, what do we got? It's raining. That's it. That's the keyword. It's raining because it's always raining. It is. It's always raining. I'm kind of over it. Of course, I have to mow again. I didn't even mow the front. So if it ever stops raining, I'll have to mow the front. But yeah, the keyword today, if you made it this far, first of all, if you made it this far, you're awesome. And thank you very much. But if you made it this far, the keyword is it's raining. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching and hope everyone has a great weekend. Later.